Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. We'll chant Mangalacharan. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Visapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapati Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sarpajatam Sahigana Jagunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padana Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitansha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Rapti Kanchani Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarivescha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Galadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. I have a little bit cold. I'm not sure whether you can hear my voice clearly. You can hear? Okay. You can see the screen? Okay. So there are few devotees not joined as yet. Okay. Let's start, whoever is there. So we're reading second chapter, doing the last section. As you can see on the screen, that's the student handbook. So the last section, Krishna is talking about Sthidhir, which is 254 to 272. Now we have already covered, so Arjuna basically asked 4 questions. We have already covered 3 questions of Arjuna. Symptoms of that yogi speech, how he speaks, internal and external, how he sits, how he controls his senses, and the last section is how he walks around in the world without getting tempted. So this is what we are studying. So let's do quick revision of the 264 onwards. I see Vijay Gopi Mataji and Rasan Gopal Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Would you like to do, any one of you can do 264?
Who's this? Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, take 65.
64 Mataji.
Oh, 64, sorry. 64. But a person free from all attachment and aversion, unable to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom, can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord.
Passport, or college from which?
Sorry, comment.
That's okay.
So here it says that like the person
I'm not able to talk to you now.
he's free from raga and dvesha, that is detached, and he's free from hatred, and he can control the senses through regulative principles. So here raga is the attachment and dvesha is the...
Sorry, Mataji, your voice is a bit low. Maybe you can move closer to the laptop.
Sorry. So here it says that the person who is free from raga and dvesha, and raga is the detached attachment and dvesha is the detachment. When he is free from these two, then he can able to control his senses. And once we do this, then we get the mercy of the Lord.
Yeah.
Want to add anything?
There's one more word we can pick, Mataji, Vidheyatma. So Vidhi, Vidhan, rules and regulations.
Yes.
So basically that tells how do we control it. So it controls by Vidheyatma, by rules and regulations.
Following rules and regulations.
Yeah, and Prabhupada writes very nicely, who follows regulated freedom. Prabhupada is very innovative here, is saying control his senses through regulative principles of freedom. And what does it mean? People usually take restriction like fasting or chanting or reading eating particular stuff as a restriction, as a deprivation. But Prabhupada is saying that's a regulative principle of freedom. How do we understand that? You got my question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Actually, I remember like Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj's example actually. Like when we go on the road, like we have some traffic lights and other things. So that is actually, we feel that it is controlling our easy movement on the road. But actually when we follow those ones, we'll be safe. And then, like it is feel like they are restricting our freedom, but that is for our safety.
Yes.
So similarly, when we follow these regulative principles, like as per the scriptures, then actually it protects us. That's what my understanding is.
No,
I'm not sure it's right.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. So it feels like they're restricting our speed, and there's this camera, that camera, speed bumps, but they all actually makes us free, because then we are safe and then we can reach to destination. We also took the example of a child playing inside a boundary. So mother and father, says the child, you stay in the boundary, don't go out. And child is saying, oh, my mother and father is depriving me of my freedom. Now, if he goes out, what will happen? He may sustain injuries, because the road is very dangerous. So a transcendentalist look at these principles as the boundary line, as a protection. So initiated devotee, for example, looks at his vows as a protection line, as a boundary line. He does not move out of the boundary. And then he is protected, and then he can move towards the goal. Thank you, Mataji. And the last one, he says, Prasadam adhigacchati, and prasad here refers to the complete mercy of the Lord, as Prabhupada writes. 265, Rasanand Prabhu, you'd like to do?
So continuing on that, so in 265 translation, for one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of the material existence no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon fixed. So here it's talking about what happens to such a person once he is in that prasad. He gets the mercy of the Lord. What happens to him? Three things is said here. One, he is fully satisfied. He will be fully satisfied, and the no longer the three folds of miseries are affecting him, and his intelligence is well established. So you also highlighted that three folds of miseries, even though miseries come, that is not affecting them. It passes away. So they don't take that as as a hurdle or obstacle for the Krishna consciousness, but then as such miseries keep coming for us.
Yeah. So externally, yeah, Mataji.
And it means that it doesn't affect the threefold miseries, means like we do get flu and other, some sort of diseases, but they don't get affected internally. So internal conscious is fixed.
Yes.
So that is what is meant by we are not affected by threefold miseries.
Yes. So that's very important. Devotees also get sick and they go through so many tribulations, but internally they are connected well with Krishna, and they are not bothered too much about what happens to the body or things related to the body only. They do what they can, and then rest they leave it on the Lord. That's nice. And his intern, prasanna chetasa, is always prasanna internally, because he knows, as Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj said, there's nothing serious in the world which we should take too seriously. And he also mentioned we get super excited about few things in material world. Once we get something which our senses like, we get, yay, got it. This is nothing to be get excited about, nothing to be get sad about. They're both same. Radha Govind Maharaj gave a very nice example. He said, if a mad person is laughing or crying, is there any difference in his laughing or crying? They're both same. Yeah? So we are like mad, materially mad, if we are. Then when we are laughing, so-called laughing, oh yeah, I've got so much success materially speaking. Actually, we are mad. And when we are crying, we lost so much. That also is like a dream. In dream, we achieved something. In dream, we lost something. And a sane person will not cry or will not get excited about those things, what he receives or loses in the dream. So similarly, this person is prasanna chetasa, is always happy in Krishna consciousness, because he is moving forward towards Krishna, no matter what happens in the temporary situation outside. Thank you, Mataji. Let's move forward to 66. Vinay Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
1 second, Prabhuji.
No problem.
Yeah, one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? So, yes, no, like a buddhi, intelligence in our mind. If we cannot connect with Krishna consciousness or any Shiva, then our that intelligence or buddhi doesn't give us any peace or happiness. And so that's why our buddhi and mind always be engaged with Krishna consciousness. This only way to have the happiness and peace. This is clearly said in this verse.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. So clearly, as Prabhuji mentioned, so two things are needed. Buddhi, here it says buddhi, and bhavna. Bhavna here refers to mind. Prabhupada writes here, bhavna is fixed mind. So our buddhi and bhavna, if it is ayukta, so yukta refers to with Krishna, ayukta refers to with no Krishna. So if buddhi, our intelligence and mind, both are without Krishna, what will happen? Cha abhavayata shantir, he will not have any peace. And if you don't have peace, can you be happy? Your mind is constantly agitated. Your intelligence is hankering for something material. You don't have peace. Externally, you may have your AC switched on, but internally your heart might be burning, isn't it? You are very much tension. Some people go and talk to, Prabhu, don't talk to me. I'm very tense. Aaj mood off hai. My mood is not well today. Huh? So you'll say, okay, person looks healthy. The AC is also there. Money bank account is also there. Why a person's mood is off? Why is in tension? Internally, his mind is disturbed. His buddhi is disturbed. Why it is disturbed? Because he's identifying himself with the material world and the material incidents. But if that buddhi and mind is connected with Krishna, then you get Shanti. There's a Chaitanya Charitamrita verse. I'm pretty sure everyone will know. What is that verse? Krishna Das Bindas, Maya Das Sada Udas. So Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami, Sakale Ashan. So Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami. So whoever is aspiring for Bhukti, Bhukti means Bhogna, sense enjoyment. Mukti, looking for liberation. Bhukti Mukti Siddhi, one is looking for perfection. Siddhi Kami, Sakale Ashant. Sakale means all of them are Ashant. Why? Because they have to achieve something. They have to achieve something. And as far as you have to achieve something in the material world, you will be Ashant, isn't it? When you stop trying to achieve something in the material world, then only you will become Shant. So Krishna Bhakti Nishkam Ataiva Shant. So Krishna Bhakti is Nishkam. He doesn't have any desire. Again, desire here refers to any personal sense gratification desire. He doesn't have. So he's Shanta. So we are also trying to become Krishna Bhakta. And what does it translate to? We become Nishkam for any sense gratificatory desires. Otherwise, if you are after Bhukti, Mukti and Siddhi, I'm not sure many people are after Bhukti, Bhogna, sense gratification thing, accumulating sense gratificatory things. What will be the result? Result will be Ashanta. So Nacha Bhavita Shanti. And if you are not Shanti, Ashanta se Kutasha comes. Ashanta, unpeaceful person. How can he get any happiness? Thank you, Vinay Prabhu. We go next one. Jamvati Mataji, Hare Krishna. Were you there in the previous class, Mataji?
I wasn't, but can I try?
Yes, you can.
As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. So just according to what it's saying, like the wind, the strong winds can, you were saying, I think I was listening to your recording, that even big ships also gets wavered, like even with the strong winds. So like that, even if any of our senses we are troubled by them, it'll take us away, waver away from Krishna consciousness.
Thank you. And what does Vayu refers to? If you remember, or anyone? Vayu, wind.
Desires, Prabhu.
So-
Desire.
Desires, thank you.
Desires.
And so our body is considered to that ship, a little ship in the material world, in this material world ocean. And we are like a ship, and our desires take us away here and there. Huh? You see some nice sense objects. Oh, that's nice. Let's go there. Huh? You want to buy something, you want to establish something, you want to gain something because of based on your desires. Here, desire refers to obviously material desires. So with the force of desire, with the force of wind, as a ship moves, so that's how we also move. And where we end up in, when we have no control over our ship, the desires are taking us here and there. Wherever the desire is, you go. Like a simple example, you go to, say, India, there's a lot of street food there, and your desire says, have a chaat papdi, gol gappe, sohan papdi, this rasgulla, that rasgulla. You end up getting sick, yes or no? Because you uncontrollably started eating all the samosas, dokla outside on the street. You'll get sick, and the next 1 week you're on the bed. you lose motion and all that because you could not control your desires. Now, on the other hand, if you take the Vayu definition as the wind of Shastra, if the Shastra tells us, okay, go in this direction, go in that direction, and if you follow that direction, what will happen? The boat will reach to the destination. Now, how many holes in a boat is allowed? If a boat is going in an ocean, you'll say your boat has 10 holes, my boat only has 2 holes.
Nothing, no holes.
No holes.
Doesn't matter whether it's 1 or 10.
1 or 2, sooner or later, you may be a person in mode of goodness, very nice looking, very well established in the world, but your mind is agitated by one thing. What will happen? Sooner or later, you will drown. And the example given is of, anyone remembers the example which we have discussed many times actually? Vishwamitra Muni. Huh? He was trying to control his mind and senses for thousands of years, not 1 or 2 days. For us, controlling senses for 1 day is like Ekadashi. That also we eat a lot, but maybe not, all the things which we can eat. And we wait for Dwadashi to come. So even one sense is if we're wandering in the world to achieve something, it can drown our boat down. So it's a Indriyanam hi chartam. So our Indriyas, our charan, are moving around in the material world. Yan mano anuvidhiyate. So it's following the desire of mind. Tadasya harati pragyam. So harati means kidnapped. Pragya means intelligence. His intelligence will be kidnapped. Vayu navam nivasi. As a vayu, as a wind, sweeps away the boat in the ocean. And Prabhupada gives the example of Maharaj Ambrish. All of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, not only 2 or 3. It's good to start from 2 or 3, but eventually all of the senses must be engaged to achieve the success in this path. Okay, we'll go to the next one, 268. Jai Prakash Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandaprana.
Prabhuji.
Translation. Therefore, O mighty armed one, whose senses are restrained from their objects, is certainly of steady intelligence. So I think we discussed on in Krishna consciousness, if the mind is fixed on Lord's service, automatically the senses will be controlled, and that can lead to a steady in intelligence. And we also discussed around the analogy of horses and how does horses need to be controlled through the rein by the charioteer. So unless until we have the senses controlled through proper intelligence, which will come if we are in steadily practicing, doing a sadhaka, even though there will be a struggle, but with Lord's mercy, if we continuously endeavor for it, over a period of time, gradually we can steady or try to restrain the senses.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji very nicely said, so intelligence has to control the reins of the horses. Horses is the senses, reins is the mind, intelligence is the Sarathi, the chariot driver. And how does the chariot driver becomes expert? Anyone? Our buddhi becomes expert, mature. How does our buddhi becomes mature or expert? It says by studying the Shastra. So if we are regularly in touch with Shastra, with Shastric knowledge, we are hearing, or we are reading, we are studying all these books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita and all that. So our intelligence becomes sharp, and then our study, with the sharp, strong intelligence, we'll be able to control the reins. Otherwise, what happens in the material world? what they say, shop till you drop. That's what they say. Keep shop, shop, shop. All on the credit card. They eventually have to pay for it. Even physically, they are tired. What to speak of later, they have to work harder to pay that $10,000 bills and whatever. And many times I've heard about it. I've not seen anyone. Then people have a mania on spending. Not many, actually. I'm using the other word. Yeah, mania on spending. They just keep spending. They can't stop. So they get a credit card and they keep spend because anything they see they can buy, they'll just put in the credit card. So it's a big problem, and they have to deal with the, I think, psychologists with this problem, because they spend so much. They have no control over their mind. Their intelligence is almost zero. Mind is just acting. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. This is nice. Get this. Get this. Get this. And eventually they end up actually in a big mess. So intelligence has to be strong. Then we can control the mind. It says senses are like kids, and mind is in the Vedic culture example I'm giving. So take it that way. So senses are like kids, and mind is like a wife, and buddhi is like the husband. So husband is supposed to lead the family. If suppose the kids are saying, Mama, I need chocolate, I need this toy, that toy. So what Mama should say ideally, no, that's not good for you. You already eaten chocolate, your 2 teeth are already out. If you eat more chocolate, all your teeth will come out. But instead of saying no to the kids, no to the senses, what man says to the buddhi, to the husband, give me money, give me money, give me money. Now, if the husband is weak, what he will do? Okay, whatever my wife desires, my kids desire. Now, it's not for their good. He loves them. Loving means he'd look after them properly, and he leads the family in a direction which makes them healthy. But in this situation, because the buddhi is weak, husband is weak, it allows mind and senses to do whatever they like to do. And what happens? The result is a big mess. But when the husband is strong, it tells the wife, no, we're not going to listen to you because this is not good for us. Now, this is a Vedic example. In today's world, I don't know how you're going to apply this example, but it says like that. So our buddhi is compared to a good husband, mind is compared to the wife, which will go here and there, but husband will control the wife and say, no, this is not good. We will only do what is good for us. And kids are obviously, they're dependent on the mind, mama, and if not mama, papa. So Prabhupada also said, mama should be like a Bengali mother, very sweet and soft, and papa should be like a military man. Then kids will develop very nicely. Prabhupada said that analogy. One has to be strong, discipline. It's a love. It's a part of love. Dronacharya was very tough with the disciples, and that made the disciples very nice. Mahabharata says, Chanakya also says, Mahabharata also says, between 5 and 15, you have to discipline your child very nicely for their good. It's not talking in negative terms. For their good, you need to discipline because they have so much to take in their mind. So this is a very nice example. If we can control all our indriyas, sarvashaha, and not let them go to sense objects, our pragya, our intelligence will be very well established. Okay, thank you, Prabhu. 269. I see Mahavasu Prabhu and Bhakti Mataji. Hare Krishna. Any one of you can do?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. So it's text number 2.
This has come to you, Prabhu.
Yes.
Sorry, it was a pure
No, it's nice, Prabhu. In fact, I was probably
I didn't choose it like that.
No, in fact, I was expecting, I would say that. Okay. So the translation is, what is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is a night for the introspective sage. So in this, the word which is important that we discussed was Jagrati Pashyato Munehe. So these are the two important words that we discuss. Jagrati means one who is awake, but awakening does not mean awakening in physical sense. What Prabhupada and was discussed was awakening in the terms of understanding and going on the path of self-realization, that is cultivation of self-realization. So that is called as awakening. And Pashyato Munehi means one who is introspective. Mune is sage. So everyone should be Pashyato Mune. That means one should be actually introspective, thinking as to what he's doing in this material world. Because in this material world, there are so many things that will allure us. and there is no limit to our desires. But once a person understands his real position as to why he took birth, and then he starts realizing what is the purpose of life, that is called as the stage of self-realization. And then is a person called as that is awake. Until then he's actually sleeping, although he's materially opulent, but he's still sleeping. So he's not jagrat, right? He's actually sleepy. And I'm very thankful to you for giving an explanation on this, because as I said, I always found this verse very confusing and had no sense. That's what I felt. But now I can tell you, it's like, firstly, this verse has been spoken to explain the fourth question, which is Vrajeta Kim, that is, how does he walk? And how does he walk means how does he roam around in this world, which means a person, everyone, every living entity has to live in this world, and then he will have to interact with the sense objects, which will actually increase a lot of desires, and the person will actually get engrossed in it. But a person who is a muni, or who is an introspective muni, that means who actually understand the goal of life, goal of his human form of life, he will actually not get attracted to such desires, and he will roam in this world, although he's in this material world, but he will look at it as to how it is going to help him in his self-realization, not that he actually gets engrossed in the material world. So that is why it is Sa Nisha. This is actually a night for a person who is materially engrossed in the material world, and a Muni is a person who knows the value of human form of life, and he is awake, and he is on the path of self-realization. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Just a few things I was thinking, maybe we can just, and just a request for everyone, we can stay close to the Sanskrit words while we are saying our takeaway points. So we can read the words, and whatever we don't know, that's fine, but staying close to the verse keeps us on the track. So he said, Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam. Sarva Bhutanam refers to all the living entities. Nisha refers to Rat, the night. Tasyam Jagrati Sanyami. So when all the living entities are sleeping, that time, this person, Sanyami, is Jagrati. He is awake. Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani. And when the Bhutani, all of the Jivas are Jagrati, are awake, Sa Nisha Pashito Muni. This Muni sees them as Nisha, as night. So what this analogy refers to?
The self in, like it's talking the Nisha, the night, talking about the interest, the area of the interest.
Thank you. So one keyword here we can take, area of interest. For a devotee is different than the area of interest of a non-devotee or a normal person. Area of interest for a devotee is, for example, more chanting. Today is Ekadashi, we chant more, we sleep less, we eat less, we do some devotional service and all those sort of things. We read more. So this is area of interest for a devotee. Janmashtami comes, we're all excited for what? Doing more seva. Any other Jagannath Rath Yatra is coming, we are excited. Why? Because we are doing more seva for the Lord. But for a karmi, this sort of seva, oh, you're not taking weekend off. Whole weekend. Our weekend is much more busier than our weekdays. Our weekdays is our weekend. Monday evening, we go to bed, feels so good. When the Friday, Saturday, Sunday comes, we all like fully awake. Friday, how long you slept? Prabhuji, 4 hours. Saturday, 3 hours. Sunday, 4.5 hours. That's all. Monday, you get 6 hours rest. Our job is just, I was speaking to Madhuri Mataji the other day. Madhuri Mataji was saying, our job is just a side project, you know. Devotional service is the main project. 3 months before we are preparing for Janmashtami, Rath Yatra, months ago, so much advertising needs to be done, so many invitations needs to be sent. And even if nothing is going on, we are chanting Hare Krishna. 64 rounds, no problem, we can do 64 rounds. But if you tell a karmi, I'm chanting, 2 hours, even if you tell 2 hours of chanting, just vibrating same sound for 2 hours, what he will think about you? Kuch khiska hua hai. Something is wrong here. Something is missing here. That's how they will interpret. You're putting this tilak on your forehead and 12 parts of your body, you're wearing a sheet. So all these activities which a devotee is aspiring for, going more Manglarti, that is considered nisha for them. They are sleepy people, they are village people, they have no idea about the advancement and the gadgets. And similarly, we think about them when they are going to nightclub. Chalo, it's very nice. Friday night lunch, Friday night dinner, they get so excited about it. And we're like, oh my God, not again. Last week only you went on a company lunch. Again, you are going. So we are completely nisha. Those activities for us is completely nisha, completely nighttime. We don't want that. Huh? So area of interest, we can say. Huh? Area of interest is completely opposite. That's what the verse is saying. Next one, Hare Krishna Manmohan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Would you like to do this one?
Sure, Prabhu. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So I think you gave an example, like, that ocean never breaks its banks, like, it's always still, it always looks of the same size no matter how much water is coming into the ocean by the rivers. So similarly, the desires are coming into our heart, but of a devotee who's sit pragna, but he's completely shant like the ocean, and he's not disturbed by those desires at all. And it says achala pratishtam, steadily situated, even though the desires keep coming, because that we have no control on that. Vaishnavi, please. Sorry, Prabhu, I was just
That's okay, Prabhuji. That's okay.
And just to follow the same Sanskrit pattern, I think survey all, saha, that person, shantim, peace, apnoti, achieve, na, not, kama, kami, one who desires to fulfill desires. So then again, that person, they're giving the example of the karmi, that who strives to satisfy such desires, he cannot achieve peace because his mind is always disturbed by the incessant flow of the desires.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So that was nice. So apure madam achalam padi. So apure, purya refers to the poor, complete. Apure is completely full, completely full. Samudra always completely full. We don't see, Samudra, the water level has gone down ever. Samudra is always full. Ocean is always full. Achalam pratistam. It does not move out of his boundaries. Samudram apaha. So Samudram refers to ocean. Apa refers to the water. Pravishanti. Although so many water bodies are constantly entering to the ocean, but ocean is never coming out of the boundary. So similarly, when the desires come in, which as Manmohan Prabhu said, we have no control over. When we go out in the world, we will see different things. Huh? Even when we don't go out in the world, we are sitting and chanting. Do you get internal advertising agency mind? Who tells you, oh, that thing was nice. You didn't look at that. That person said that thing. This person that said that thing. In the past 20 years ago, this happened to you. Are you happy with that? So this constant internal advertisement is going on. So external advertisement plus internal advertisement. Now external we can actually control. Internal is too difficult, isn't it? Many times devotees who change their lifestyle, obviously after coming to Krishna consciousness, but many times they go backwards because their internal advertisement was too strong, and they cannot win over that. And they go back. So here it's saying as Samudra is always receiving ills, but not going out. Similarly, a devotee receives the desires. It can receive the desires internal or outside, but he is not responding back on them. Is not attending to them. As a salesperson who knocks on your door in India, many times, whole day people are knocking, buy the bed sheet, buy this masala, buy that thing, this thing, buy this knife. But you always say, nahi, nahi chahiye. I don't want it. I don't want it. So similarly, when the desires come externally or internally, a devotee says no to them, unless they are Krishna conscious desires. So then, sa shantim apnoti. Apnoti refers to achieve. Wo prapt karta hai. He achieves shanti. Na kam kami. Not the person who's trying to fulfill those desires constantly, because desires are unlimited. As Mahasi Prabhu was saying, there is no end to the desires. There is no end to the desires. We have to say, stop. I get this and I'm happy with this, and that's it. So there's a very nice verse which tells how a devotee lives in the world. And you cannot stop what comes in your mind. But what you can do, reaction, as Radhanath Maharaj always says, our reaction to the desires matter. Our reaction to the environment matters, not what comes in. We can't stop that. We have to go and travel, go work, sit in the flight and all those things. But what we can control, how we react to those situations, how we react to those desires. So the example of ocean is very appropriate. Okay, let's start from verse 71. We have Rupam Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, just before you start the verse, can I request everyone to please switch on your cameras as much as possible? It just looks class more interactive and we can feel the presence of each other. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji, Rupa Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Vihaya kaman yaha sarvan.
Vihaya kaman yaha sarvan.
Pumams charati nishpriha.
Umams charati nishpraha.
Nirmamo nihankara.
Nirmamo nirahankara.
Sa santim adhigachati.
Sa shantim adhigachati.
A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace.
Yeah, so Krishna is continuing the thoughts and telling how to get the peace. So previously in the 270, what was the peace formula? Say Raghavi Mataji, Hare Krishna. So the principle given in the 270 to attain the peace was, if I have to put in one line, for example,
Achalam Pratishtam.
Achalam Pratistham. Thank you. So the desires may come in, but you should just stay calm. You should stay within your boundaries. Now here, Krishna is telling again the similar things in a three-fashioned way. Now, which section we are doing? Anyone else? Akhand Rasa Prabhu? So which section we are in? The fourth section, where the Krishna is responding the fourth question. What was the fourth question of Arjuna in 254?
Vrajetakim.
How does he?
Vrajetakim. Thank you, Prabhuji. Vrajetakim. So how does he move around? So here, charati. Charati word is used, huh? Chalna. Huh? How does he move around? He moves around in three stages. So his mental situation is described. Three things are described here. Vihaya kaman. Vihaya refers to giving up. Kaman refers to desires. He has given up. Sarvan vihaya kaman. So how many desires he has given up? All the desires he has given up. Obviously here, all does not refer to being desireless. We're not Buddhist. We're not saying you have to create void in your mind. So what we are referring, what Krishna is referring here to, all sense gratificatory desires. Huh? So Sarvan Kaman Vihaya. So he has given up all the desires for sense gratification. Pumans, this person, Charati Nispraha. The second qualification given, Nispraha. Nispraha refers to desireless. He doesn't hanker for anything. He doesn't lament for anything. Hankering means any position. I want to become the president of this country. That's a hankering. Huh? What to speak of a president of the country? At least I want to become MP of this zone. Huh? I live in Willoughby area. So just a month ago, there are so many people advertising for this person, that person. The whole street was full. So at least people have desire to become MP, if not the president. Forget MP, at least you have a desire to be the owner of the house, although you're on mortgage for 30 years. You have a desire, apna ghar hota, your own house. So actually it's owned by NAB or CBA, but you think I'm the owner. They can kick us out anytime. Huh? You don't pay three installments and then you will know who owns the house, you or someone else. So we have desires, so many unlimited desires. So, but this person has no desires for sense gratification. Nispraha. Ispraha refers to desire. Nispraha means no desire. He's desireless. Two more qualities are given. Nirmamo. Mama refers to mera, mine. This house is mine. This table is mine. This laptop is mine. This family is mine. This body is mine. This car is mine. Position is mine. I am the big president of this country, whatever. But this person is nirmamo. He doesn't have any sense of proprietorship. He understands everything belongs to Krishna. I may be the temporary caretaker, which is fine, and I do my duty as well best. I'm not the owner. I'm not the proprietor. And what's the example of that? my throat. I don't want my throat to get disturbed. I got cold. I have no control over. Many things happen which we don't like it, but it happens. It proves, although we didn't like it, it happened. We are not the owner. We are not the proprietorship of that. Someone else is putting the thread actually. And we are just like the puppet whose thread is controlled by the puppeteer. And whatever puppeteer desires, the doll may go this side, that side, it may speak, it may loudly cry, or it may become very happy. The thread is controlled by proprietor. So this person understands that. He says, nirmamo, no sense of proprietorship. Now, nirmamo does not mean he doesn't have any possessions. Many times it says lack of possessions. That's not the right thing to interpret. The interpretation should be no sense of proprietorship. You can have unlimited money. That's no issue. That's no issue. But you don't have sense of proprietorship. I am the owner, so I will be the enjoyer. Nir ahankaraha. He doesn't have any ahankar. He doesn't have any ahankar that, again, I am the owner and I am the enjoyer. Prabhupada said, people have I syndrome. I syndrome means me and mine. I am so special. I'm so intelligent. I am so and so, whatever the illusions which we have. This is called ahankar. So this person has no ahankar. So three things are described in this verse. Nispraha, nirmamo, nirahankar. Nispraha refers to desirelessness. Not that he's not doing anything, he's not doing anything to gratify his senses. Nirmamo, he doesn't have any sense of proprietorship. And nirahankar, he has no arrogance in his character. So what happens if you have these three things? Sashantim adhigachati. And previous also, sashantim apnoti. So if you want to achieve peace, these are the qualities which you should have. 270, what was the quality we should have? Anyone? 270, what's the quality we should have?
Calm, staying calm.
Sorry, Prabhu?
Staying calm.
Staying calm, staying calm. Yes, so don't respond to all the desires. Desires may come in, we don't respond, we stay calm. Thank you. And the 271, three things. Anyone else?
Desireless, no sense of proprietorship, and nirahankar.
Thank you. What are the three Sanskrit words, Upam Prabhuji? You can read.
Nishpraha, nirmamo, and nirahankara.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Nispraha, how do you become Nispraha? Vihaya kaman ya sarvan. Vihaya is to give up, kaman is desire, sarvan means all the desire you give up. Which desires you give up? Desire to become happy in the material world. It's not possible. By sense gratification, I have to add that. You can become happy in the world by serving Krishna. But being happy in the world by serving our senses, this is not possible. Not possible. No one has ever become. In Bhagavatam, we see Yayati Maharaj prayers. Long story short, so Yayati Maharaj was a husband of two wives, Sharmishta and Devyani. Most of you would know the pastime. Later on, big story short, he was able to enjoy his youth for 1,000 years, which is given by Puru Maharaj. But he was not satisfied. Even after the 1,000 years of bhoga, he was the king of the world. Now, we are not king of the world. We are very, very small. We think we are the king. We are not the king. And we are trying to satisfy our senses and our desires. How can we do this? Yayati Maharaj said, I have done bhoga for 1,000 years constantly. And his body was strong. His body was not like us. You eat one ice cream and throat goes. It didn't mean I ate ice cream. It just happened. But even if you eat one or two ice creams, the throat goes. What sort of bhoga we can do? After 40, you say, oh, no ghee, no paneer, no masala, no tel, no pakoda. So I went to someone's house and Mataji made this baked samosa. And that was nice. Prabhuji is baked, no fried. Thank you. So what bhoga we can do with this small body? Lasts so little, so little. Once we don't have bhoga, the chane hai to daant nahi, jab daant hai to chane nahi. Once we have the bhoga, we are not able to enjoy. But we wanted to enjoy, we didn't have the enjoyment facility. We're roaming around the student life, trying to save each dollar. So what bhoga will do? What bhoga will do? Body doesn't allow us. And if you try, you'll get sick. You'll get sick 1 or 2 days. Animals does much better than us. Honestly, animals does much better than us. They don't get sick. They don't get flu. They don't get COVID. They're just roaming around nicely. So that's not the way. Yayati Maharaj says, I was thinking I will do the bhoga, but actually I will consume the bhogas, but actually bhogas have consumed me. So actually we are not gratifying our senses. We're not doing the bhoga. Actually, what's happening, honestly speaking, we are getting consumed by this. Consumed by this means with our mind, with our body. We think we are enjoying. We are not. Prabhupada gave a very nice example. In the desert, when a camel is going here and there, sometimes he eats bushes, thorns and bushes, and he eats that. And once he is eating, what's happening? Because they are thorns, they get pricked in the mouth. So in the mouth, it bleeds. It bleeds the mouth. But inside, what he's thinking, these thorns are giving me this sweet juice. And what is the sweet juice? His own blood. So we think we are enjoying, but it's actually our own blood. No intelligent person will suggest that. But the camel thinks these thorns are so tasty, so tasty. And we eat those thorns. We eat the sense gratification. What happens? Our mouth gets burnt. So same thing happens with all of us. We try to enjoy some sense gratification, we get sick. We get some reactions. We get so much implications. And that's why Lal Govind Prabhu was saying, everyone says that it's not worth it. There may be some enjoyment. There may be some enjoyment for temporary enjoyment, but it's not worth it, because you see, you're actually tasting your own blood. You're hurting yourself. Sometimes people say cigarette is cool. What is cool about it? His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was saying, cigarette, it burns your mouth. It burns your mouth, burns your lungs. It says statutory warning and all that. Where is the coolness? It's making you fool. Maharaj said it's not cool, it's making you fool. So we are fooling ourselves. One example, cigarette, and there's so many, that we look cool. We can impress some boys or girls and all that. It's not cool. We are getting fooled, actually. We are getting fooled. So sense gratification is making ourselves fool. So if you really want to enjoy, you should be attaching yourself to Krishna, and then you can really enjoy for a long time. And that enjoyment is not dependent on any outside thing. Prabhupada used the word conditioned soul. Anyone know what does it mean? Conditioned. Prabhupada was very intelligent. He's using this many words. Prabhupada used it for the first time. What does conditioned mean? In a layman's language.
When we are conditioned by 3 modes of material nature.
Okay, more. Yeah, that's correct, Mataji. It's a philosophical answer. If you have to say in a layman's language, what you said is absolutely correct. Our enjoyment is dependent on so many conditions. How we can enjoy? When someone bows down to me, I feel good. Wow, I'm great. When I get a nice pizza or whatever I like, I feel great. If I touch something, a soft surface or something, I feel great. So my enjoyment is dependent on so many conditions. And do we have control over those conditions? How many people will bow down to me? How long my health will last? How long CBI will allow me to stay under this roof? We have actually hardly any control, or very, very little control. Weather, we are looking at the weather. Rath Yatra, people are saying it's going to rain. Sundays, heavy rains. What control do we have? We have big, big plans. Krishna has another plan. What can we do? So our enjoyment is dependent on so many conditions. That's why we are called conditioned entity. We are conditioned. And Krishna is not like that. Krishna's joy is always there. He's 6 days old, Putana comes, no problem. 125-year-old Mahabharat war, no problem. Shivji comes with Varanasur, no problem. So anything comes in front of Krishna, he has no problem. We have problem all the time. All the time we have problem. So we should understand the situation. That's why we are called conditioned. So the more we can remove ourselves from this conditioning, which is seeking pleasure outside, we will be more and more conditioned. If we seek pleasure inside in our Atma and with Krishna, even if outside doesn't work in your favor, so-called favor, you are still happy. A sadhu doesn't have anything, but is still happy. Why? Because he has Krishna inside. Someone was telling after a lecture of which Radhanath Maharaj gave, actually Radhanath Maharaj himself said, he went to London to give some seminar to HSBC, some executives. And there's a lecture on YouTube, actually, you can see. And Radhanath Maharaj said, I'm speaking to all of you. You have, big executives, big bank accounts. And here, look at me. I don't have any bank account under my name for last 40 years. And I'm giving you the lecture. Why? Because he's a sadhu. He doesn't have even 1 cent, externally speaking, but he has the biggest cent, which is Krishna. And all these little cents, billion-dollar person or trillion-dollar person, they bow down to this person. The sadhu's position is the greatest. So we should understand that. And then the more we are unconditioned from outside and we are moving towards inside, we feel happier and happier. And one day our conditioning will be removed. Not again, the world will stop offering the flaws, but our conditioning, which is dependent on the world for our happiness, will be removed, and then we'll be happy. COVID, no problem. Flu, no problem. Emergencies, no problem. Everything is okay because it's Krishna's arrangement. And I'm the servant of Krishna. He's my well-wisher in every situation. He's my father. He's looking after me. No matter what happens externally to me or to my body, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's move to the second one, 72. Raghavi Mataji, would you like to read?
Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha.
Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha.
Nayanam Prapya Vimuyati.
Nayanam Prapya Vimuyati.
Stitva Yasam Antakalepi.
Stitva Asyam Antakalepi.
Brahma Nirvanam Richati.
Brahma Nirvana Richati.
That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God.
Thank you, Mataji. So Esha refers to whatever verse has been just spoken. Brahmi Sthiti. So Brahma refers to the spiritual, as Prabhupada writes here. So if the person Isthita, Brahmi Isthita means spiritually situated. And through all the verses which we have been discussing in the last section, if the person is spiritually situated, what is the result? The two results Krishna is giving of being situated in intelligence. So Pragya Pratisthita, we've been spoken many verses like that. So if you are spiritually situated, your Pragya, your intelligence is fixed in Krishna consciousness, two things will happen. First thing, Nainam Prapya Vimuyati. So na enam. So this person, na prapya, will not achieve. What he will not achieve? Vimuhyati. He will not be bewildered. He will not be deluded. You remember in 262, 263, we spoke about the word Sammoha Smriti Brahma. So people get deluded. People get bewildered. So if you don't want to get bewildered, you should be situated spiritually. Anywhere outside is not a safe zone. It's a danger zone. You will get bewildered. Sooner, even goodness people get bewildered. What to speak of passion and ignorance, which most of us are in. So, Nainam Prapya. So this person who is spiritually situated will not get bewildered. And the second thing is, Sthitwayasya Antakalepi. In Antakal refers to the time where you're going to quit your body. Anyone knows which chapter in Bhagavad-Gita talks about Antakal in detail?
Is it chapter 8, Prabhu?
Thank you. Chapter 8. That's perfect. So chapter 8 will talk in detail about how you leave the body, how a yogi leaves the body, how a bhakta leaves the body, what happens. It's a very nice chapter. We'll get there. But in this chapter, Krishna is giving a hint for the person who is situated spiritually, what happens in the Antakal, because Antakal is not in our control. We know that at least. It's not in our control at all. So, but if you are situated spiritually, even when the Antakal comes, Brahma Nirvana Vrachati, you will enter into the kingdom of God. So if you are spiritually situated, what will happen? Throughout the life, you will not get bewildered. Nainam Prapya Vimuyati, and Antakal, when the Antakal will come, which is again out of our control, you will enter into the kingdom of God. So this is a very nice section. Last one is Dhir Munir. I'll just refer to our handbook here, which refers to 254 to 272. How many verses are there? So 28 verses are there. I'm sorry, 18 verses are there. So these 18 verses.
Oh, I mean, almost across.
Okay, so 18, 19 verses are there. They are actually very practical application of Bhagavad-Gita. It constantly telling us two things, positive and negative. Last week we were doing positive and negative. So if you do the positive, you achieve this result. If you don't follow it, you achieve the negative result. So we should all read these verses actually whenever we get the time, and try to meditate. Just pick up one verse, two verses, and see what we can avoid and what we can follow. Because this will lead us to these four things which we all deal with in the world. We have to understand ourselves. We have to understand our other person. So symptoms. How do we think? Speech. You remember there was a one internal mindset we discussed in verse 56, and there was an external speaking. We referred in 57. How we sit, like how we control our senses, which is needed for every moment, and how we walk around this world without getting tempted from the sense gratificatory things, from this external and internal advertisements. And if we are able to follow this, Krishna says, finally, you'll not be bewildered at all. You'll constantly be situated spatially, and in the end, you will enter into the kingdom of God. Okay, so this is the last verse of the second chapter. Let's go quickly. We'll read in our PDF file. So what we have discussed so far. So PDF file is in front of everyone. I hope everyone can see it. So this second chapter is one of the longest chapter. Anyone know, is this the longest chapter in Bhagavad Gita? Just a side information. Hare Krishna, Mohit Prabhu.
18th chapter.
18th chapter. Thank you, Prabhuji. How many verses there?
78.
Thank you. And this one is the
72. Yeah.
72. Thank you, Prabhuji. So it's the second longest chapter. It's quite long. It explains quite a few things. And that's why Prabhupada named this contents of the Gita summarized. So it talks about different parts of Gita, which is going to come later. So first section in this chapter, we read about Arjuna's surrender to Lord Krishna and one more argument of Krishna. Anyone remembers? What's the fifth argument of Arjuna, which was presented in this chapter, 2.6 and 7?
Indecision.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Indecision. So, and after indecision, in 2.6, he surrenders into 2.7. Then Krishna sort of takes over, starts the Bhagavad Gita. So he explains three major sections here. First, he explains Sankhya, Jnana, whatever you want to call, which counteracted with argument of Arjuna. We can unmute yourself. Maybe if you can quickly speak. Sorry.
Compassion.
Compassion, thank you. And how did he counter that argument, Prabhu? In this section, Jnana, 211 to 230, 20 verses.
By the knowledge of soul.
Thank you. By the knowledge of soul, we are being compassion for the body, but you're not the body, you're the soul. Forget that. Second section, he talked about Karma Kanda. Which counter argument he is doing here, Krishna?
Sense enjoyment.
Four arguments given in the first chapter. Yes. Rupa,
Loss of sense enjoyment.
Sorry, see again.
Loss of sense enjoyment.
Enjoyment. Thank you, Manmohan Prabhuji. Yes. So he was thinking about enjoyment. If my relatives are going to get killed, how am I going to enjoy? So what was the response of Krishna in this section? This is called Karma Kanda section, by the way. So 231 to 238. What's the response of Krishna?
If you die, you still get Swargalokam, and if you win, you will still get unrivaled kingdom. So you will enjoy in both situations.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hatova plus Swargam Jitva va Bhokchase Mahim. So if Jitva Bhokchase Mahim, Mahim ko bhogo, Arth ko bhogo. Or Hato, if you die, you'll go to Swarga. So you will enjoy. So that counter argument is also done. Third, talking about Buddhi Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga. There are different names given. So Buddhi Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, which argument is countering? Third argument of
fear
of sinful reaction.
Thank you. And what is the argument Krishna gives in this section?
If he does his duty, there is no reaction.
Thank you. If you do your duty with unattached way, in an unattached way, doing your prescribed duty, there is no sinful reaction. So we understand these three things. So three arguments given by Arjuna is already counteracted. Now the fourth argument. What was the fourth argument in the first chapter? Someone else. Jaldi, jaldi. Family traditions will be destroyed. You remember that? Fourth argument, family tradition. That will be counteracted in the third chapter. And what was the fifth argument? We have spoken it just now. Indecisiveness. Where is the counteraction coming in Bhagavad Gita?
18th chapter.
1572.
1872. What's the verse? Karishye Vachanam Tava. So I am very indecisive in 2.6, but then he says Karishye Vachanam Tava. And what is Tava Vachan? What is Krishna's argument? Pick up the Gandiv, shoot arrows. Huh? So all the indecisiveness is lost because we initially, as a Jiva, Arjuna is relying on his senses, his intelligence, but now he's relying on Krishna's intelligence. Huh? So many times we will also get indecisive in our life. But that time when we are not able to take our own decision, whose decision we should take? Krishna's decision. And in our case, we can say our Guru's decision, or if not Gurus, our Siksha Gurus, or our counselors, our mentors, or senior Vaishnavas, because they can see life better than us. They are representatives of Krishna. So their guidance will put us in the right path. So when we are not able to choose, we should go for a higher choices. Okay. So we understand 5 arguments and the 5 responses. We have covered 3. And the last one is Sthita Pragya section, which we have just covered. Let's go to the third section. Third section, Prabhupada writes this Karma Yoga. Anyone knows the Sanskrit name of the second chapter, or third chapter?
Sorry, Prabhu, before we go to chapter 3, in the last shloka, I think there was a mention of Katwanga Maharaj. He said, Prabhupada was explaining that in this state of life, just before he died, he surrendered to Krishna. Can you please give us some narration, like what was the...
Okay, I'll explain you a little bit. So Katwanga Maharaj, he was very, very courageous and brave. One time, he was a devotee. First, I have to say, he was a devotee. He was a king. He was looking after earthly kingdom very, very nicely. One time, demigods were in trouble. They were attacked by demons, and demigods could not counteract them. So they came to this earthly king, a human king, which is considered, generally speaking, not so strong. But he was so strong, they came to seek help from Katwanga Maharaj. So Katwanga Maharaj said, that's all right, I'll come and help. So he went to the Swarg Loka, as we see in Hindi movie, you know, some big person trying to get a help of a street person who is so-called a hero. So this hero of earth goes to the Swarg Loka. He defeats all the demons. And then demigods are very pleased. And they say, ask anything. So Katwanga Maharaj, because he's a devotee, and what a devotee is going to ask? He said, can you give me mukti? Can you give me liberation? Demigod said, come on, anything but not liberation. We can't give that. Mukti pradata sarvesham Vishnu eva na sanshaya. So Vishnu can only give the mukti. This is a statement by Lord Shiva, actually. Even Lord Shiva cannot give. So Mukti pradata sarvesham Vishnu eva na sanshaya. Doubtlessly, only Vishnu can give the mukti. So demigod says, this we can't give. So Katwanga Maharaj, again being a devotee, said, okay, just tell me how much time is remaining in my life. Then I will decide, you know, which bhoga I can do. So they said, oh, you have got only 2 muhurta. Now 2 muhurta of demigods is equal to around 2.5 hours of Prithvi Loka. He said, oh, I only got 2.5 hours to live in this body. They said, yes. So he said, okay, do one favor, give me your fastest plane. So he's asking them, give me your fastest plane so that I can go to Prithvi Loka. Now imagine Prithvi Loka, people are always trying to go to Chand Loka, to Moon Loka. Forget Moon Loka, trying to go to America Loka. Forget America Loka, Europe Loka, Switzerland Loka. They're hankering for going to these small countries, small cities. And everywhere you see the same building, same mountain, same river, same broken road, same broken red light. Every country has the same thing, huh? But we hanker for it. Anyway, here are devotees in Swarg Loka. Demigods are saying, ask anything except mukti, obviously. Ask anything. He could have got, you know, make me a Indra, give me, you know, 1,000 Nandapuan, give me Apsaras, this and that. No, he said, give me your fastest plane. So demigods said, like, yes, we can provide, but why? He said, I want to go to Prithvi Loka. Why? Prithvi Loka is the airport to go to Vaikuntha Loka. Airport is not in Swarg Loka. Now, suppose you live in, Prabhu, you live in Hornsby, I guess. So you're going to India. Where do you catch flight from? Hornsby? Or you have to come to King Smith Airport. Huh? You have to come to Sydney Airport. You may be the president of the country. You have to come to that particular spot where the flights take off from. So Katwanga Maharaj said, I don't want to stay in Swarg Loka. I may not go to Vaikuntha. So I want to go to Prithvi Loka. Give me your Viman. So give me your planes. So he used their planes to come to Prithvi Loka, and he sat down in Bharat Varsha in meditation within 2.5 moves, which says complete around 2 hours or something. Within 2 hours of devotion, he went back to Godhead. Now, Prabhupada also explains this example, obviously is given in summary. He was already a devotee, so you cannot say, oh, whole life I will enjoy. And then I will go to Vaikuntha by doing meditation. First, you don't know when you're going to die. And second, you cannot sit. You ask people to come for Bhagavatam class, they cannot sit for 40 minutes in Bhagavatam class. And their mind will not, their body will not be able to sit, and the mind definitely not. One college program, one speaker was giving class, he was giving some Ajamil Katha. So he gave a series of classes, and at the end of the class, he was just asking, so who's your role model? He was trying to get people to get the role models like, Lord Ram, Hanuman, Mother Sita, and all that. So this person says, my role model is Ajamil. What did you see in Ajamil that has become your role model? I'll say in Hindi because he said in Hindi. He said, Maja bhi kiya aur Vaikuntha bhi gaya. He did all the sense enjoyment and he went back to Vaikuntha as well. Just doing 12-year tapasya, he went to Maja bhi kiya aur dham bhi chala gaya. This is our mentality, we want to do whole Maja, just enjoy the life. And Antakal, we want to go back to Vaikuntha. How it's possible? So Khatwang Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, they could do this. They have practiced whole life. If someone tells us definitely we are going to die after 7 days, how many of us can sit for 7 days in one place with all the nice prasadam? Forget no prasad, no jal, forget it then. We'll marenge to marenge, pehle kha le. We'll die when we'll die, but first I want to eat nice jalebis and nice pizzas and whatnot. We cannot do this. These stories look nice. You have to understand the pastime. Yes, Khatwanga Maharaj went back to Godhead within 2 hours. This example is given at many, many places. He has practiced devotion his whole life. We are all chanting 16 rounds. Someone asks you, can you chant another 4 rounds? Will it be the end of your life? All right, 4 rounds, no problem. You have practiced. You ask a new person to chant 1 round a day. How difficult will it be for that person? So Khatwang Maharaj example or Parikshit Maharaj example is given to emphasize Godhead can be achieved within moments, but those moments are not spontaneous. We have to practice, we have to get eligible for it, we have to prepare whole life. Prabhupada says a whole lifetime preparation. Is the title of the book, Lifetime of Preparation. Then we can do what we can do. Prabhupada only preached for probably 12 years, 13 years. He made change to the whole world. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj only preached for under 10 years. He changed the world. So it's not again, how long we are preaching and how long we are doing meditation and this and that. It depends on our quality, but quality will come after practice, our dedication, our hard work, our commitment, our integrity to our Acharya and disciplic succession. Then only we can get that quality by which change will happen in us, and then we can inspire others to do the change. And Khatwang Maharaj is one of the greatest examples for that change. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the 3rd chapter. Anyone else has anything to add or ask in the 2nd chapter quickly? All happy, satisfied? Mahavasu Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, just want to know what is the difference between consciousness and the soul. For example, you're conscious on the body when you touch, right? I mean, the feeling, and about the soul.
Okay, a short answer is soul has the consciousness. We call it
because
soul.
it says that soul. If you have the soul, then only the body has got the consciousness, isn't it? So then, what is the difference?
Yes,
when you say
a short answer, Prabhuji. Soul gives the consciousness to your body. Obviously, soul in the presence of super soul gives the consciousness to the body, and that's why they say if the soul comes out of your body, there will be no consciousness. So if you beat your hand after the soul is gone out, the hand will not respond. So the soul gives the consciousness, and that's why Prabhupada says many times, our consciousness is contaminated. So soul in itself is pure in the Satchidanand Vigraha. So we are also part and parcel of the same Satchidanand Vigraha. We are pure by nature, but our consciousness at the moment is contaminated. Is it okay? So soul, you can say you are a person and you have a nature. Some people say, Prabhu, you are so humble. And some other people will say some other thing. Different people will have different views on you. Some will call you humble. I think other devotee was saying you are dumble. So different people view you differently. So soul also has this nature, which is pure, extremely pure. It's a part and parcel of Krishna. It harmonizes all the desires with Krishna's desire. But at this stage, our consciousness is contaminated. A person and the nature, soul and the consciousness. Sometimes they're used as synonyms as well. Synonyms means soul / consciousness.
Consciousness, yes. That's
Prabhu, can we say
Now-
that the consciousness is a symptom of the soul, presence
Yes,
of the soul?
yes. That's why I say a person versus the nature. So soul has the consciousness. We call it Krishna consciousness or materially consciousness. Soul is same. Your body is not speaking. Your body is not experiencing sukha or dukha. It's the soul's experience. Yes,
but is there any Sanskrit word for the consciousness? Just to know.
Cheta.
Cheta.
So read Cheta. Jai Prakash Prabhu. Jai Prakash Prabhu, you were saying something?
No, I said exactly the symptom of the soul is what I read.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Bhasa Prabhu, anything else?
Yes, Prabhu. As I asked you, like this was the question I wanted to ask. Now, when you say there is soul and super soul both in the body, right? Now, so Krishna resides in the heart, right? Now, the soul, where does it reside? And just want to know brief, details about it.
Yes, so Krishna responds that in 15th chapter, Hirdeshu tishtati Arjuna. So Hirdeshe means Desh of Hriday, the region of heart. Soul resides in the region of heart. It's written in Bhagavad-Gita.
Okay. And the super soul, where does he say?
Next to the soul. Next to the soul.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can't understand Prabhuji in a technical terms, she's sitting at point A and super soul sitting point
No,
B.
that's okay.
But it says next to the soul. And there are movements of the soul and the movements are also given. Yeah.
Because it is explained in the two purports where Prabhupada says that there is a soul which is actually enjoying and there's a super soul which is witnessing.
Yes.
So that's the reason I asked.
Yes, Prabhuji. It's written in 2.11 or 2.12. One of those verses. In Kathopanishad, two are described as bird. One bird is eating fruit. One bird is watching the bird who is eating fruit. Sometimes this bird gets bitter fruit like dukha, and then she cries. And sometimes this bird gets sweet fruit. The one thing which you like, and the bird enjoys. But super soul, another bird, just watching the bird eat the fruit, does not interfere. And that's why it's called this Vishnu, who does not interfere. He's just like a neutral judge, watching our actions and then punishing or rewarding as per our actions. But Bhagwan, manifestation of the same super soul, interferes into the devotee's life. Interferes, like you'll not interfere the life of your neighbor's boy or girl. Okay, whatever, mera nahi hai. But if your boy is there, is doing something which you think is unhealthy for him, what you will do? You'll interfere. No, you can't do it. It's not good for you. At least you will try. You may not get success. You'll try because you have this attachment. So Bhagwan has that attachment. The super soul, Paramatma, is neutral. Unless you pray to them, manifest as Bhagwan, Krishna, then Krishna says, oh, I will save you. Aham tvam sarapapebhyo mokshishayam masucha. Super soul doesn't say that. Super soul, enjoy. If you want, you can go for it. You'll get the result. Is that okay?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, when the soul leaves the body, the person dies. What happens to the super soul? Does it also go back? Like it's a Ksharadakshaya Vishnu.
Yeah.
So
it accompanies
does it
with
go
the
back
soul.
to Mahavishnu? Like it goes back
No.
like that?
It accompanies the soul to the next body. So it says subtle body, the soul, the subtle body. So obviously gross body remains here. Subtle body goes with the soul, and Paramatma, super soul, also goes. So in your journey in the material world, super soul never leaves you. Never means never. You go to a Devata body, a demigod body, you go to a hog body, you go to a cockroach body, super soul never leaves because super soul loves the soul, the children. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji. Nice questions. Anyone else?
Prabhuji, then super soul also accompany the soul to Narakloka?
Yes, I was going to tell that, but I thought, you'll start another question here. Yes, super soul, it says never leaves, and trying to tell this Jiva in Narakloka, for example, come back, enough, beta, enough. How much more you'll get beaten up in the material world? Come back. But as it says in the scriptures, when you go to Swargloka or Narakloka, the super soul is with you. But because of excessive bodily pain or excessive bodily pleasure, you cannot listen to the voice of super soul. But in Prithviloka, because we have mixed environment, sometimes we get sukha, sometimes we get dukkha. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gam. That's what they say. But maybe you can say, bahut jada, thodi khushi, bahut gam. But you can listen. If we get a proper environment to the super soul, and then we can turn back to him. Okay. Nidhi Mataji, is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's okay. Yeah.
Charu Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. Just can I make a point on the super soul?
Yes.
I was listening to His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj's lecture, and regarding super soul, in when Krishna says in chapter 4 that I accompany, I accompany the body or the soul everywhere. Maharaj explains that that's how, because the super soul is with you in each and every lifetime, from Indra Gopal to even human being, it accompanies you, and that's how it also remembers what you've done in each life, and that's where it keeps like a database of everything that has been happening in your life.
Nice, very nice.
Just a comment. In
nice.
one of his lectures, he was explaining.
We are looking forward to more and more knowledge. Devotees are curious. Thank you, Mata. Very nice. Rupam Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhu, following on from that comment of soul goes super soul accompanies everywhere in the material world. What happens in the spiritual world?
Okay, I was listening a class by some Maharaj. I forgot the name. He gave this answer. This is given by Jiva Goswami. It has different versions. I'll just take a simple version for this class. In the spiritual world, you don't need the super soul. So Jiva Goswami explains super soul is right in front of you. So it's accompanying the material world for a purpose. And the purpose is the father is with the child. The child wants to enjoy in the park. Take your child in the park and the child enjoys, but you're constantly watching the child. Sometimes the child is very small, you're holding the child, and if the child is a little bigger, you're watching the child, but you're constantly having an eye on your child. So similarly, super soul is not holding you, don't do this and that. Okay, you want to enjoy, but it's watching over you. But a jiva doesn't look at the super soul. I want to enjoy because I got this park, I got this jhula and swing and all that. I'm so happy. And then mama tells, father tells, oh, let's go home. No, I don't want to go home. Don't want to go home. So super soul's job is there. But in the spiritual world, super soul job is not needed. So it's right in front of you. Wherever you want to see, Krishna is right there. You can serve Krishna in an unlimited way for an unlimited time from your unlimitedly strong senses, spiritual senses.
Yeah. So it merges with Krishna, the super soul, when the soul and super soul enters the spiritual world.
You can say that they're unlimited jivas, and when the jivas go back, before even it happens, actually, Mahavishnu will breathe in. Mahavishnu will breathe in, and all the super souls and souls will go in the body, and some fortunate will go back to Godhead here. So saying this merge word is difficult, but it goes inside. That's what it says. We stay safe in that word limits. Yeah, merging concept is Mayavad concept.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you that if without
Vishnu expands himself in unlimited jivas in the form of super soul, and then those super souls go back into the body of Vishnu. Yeah, just say yeah. I'm hesitant to use that word. Okay, Manmohan Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. I thought it was a clap, Mahavasu Prabhu. It was a question. No problem. Manmohan Prabhuji.
Thanks, Prabhu. Just like we always hear that Krishna has given us this world to enjoy, and super soul is watching us enjoying. And then on the other hand, we hear the contradictory statement that this is to punish us because we came here, denying Krishna's authority. So, this is like a prison and we are here to suffer. So that contradictory statement, if Krishna has given us this world to enjoy, then why he has made so much of suffering?
Okay. It's a very, very long discussion topic. In a nutshell, we can only say when your child is little obstinate to go out of the house to the park, it may be very cold and you may be saying, oh, beta, this is very cold outside, it's raining, this and that. please don't go, but your child is very obstinate. What do? You go with the child, isn't it? You make the necessary arrangement for the safety of the child. You give him or her like a raincoat or something. It was raining. You give him a good sweaters and beanie and all that. You pack up the child. You pack some snacks and say, okay, chalo. So after a while, child is tired and say, okay, Papa, go home, and then you are happy. Huh? Another thing you could have done, close the child in a room. I'm just saying options. Child is crying, Papa, I have to go, I have to go, I have to go. Papa is like, just get inside the room and you lock it. Huh? Or you can let the child go on her own or on his own. That's also dangerous. You can't lock the child. You love your child. So what you do, you accompany your child. You surrender to your child as per his or her desire for a while. And you look after your child in that situation, which is not very healthy, but you love your child. So because of the love, you expose your child even to unhealthy situation because your child wants to experience that. So similarly, Krishna has made this world not because he wanted. We desired, jana hai, jana hai, jana hai, So hum ho gaye kamyab ek din. One day I become kamyab in being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the gopis are looking at Krishna, not why at me. Prabhupada said the problem is you don't have problem with Krishna's 6 billion gopis. The problem is with you because no one is looking at you. So we wanted to be the center of attraction. Why Krishna is the center of attraction? Why not me? So Krishna said, okay, I've made a toy place for you, a toy area. You go and become the center of attraction. And just play with each other. So a short answer is that, Prabhuji. And then we are suffering because this place is not meant for the enjoyment. Huh? The suffering will be there. In a jail, you cannot expect pleasures. So you're a doctor, you go to the hospital. In hospital, any healthy persons take admission, Prabhu? No, all unhealthy comes, right? So your job is not to treat a healthy person. Your job is to treat an unhealthy person. Now, you cannot blame the hospital for that, but hospital is like that. This is place meant for, they enter as unhealthy and supposedly they become healthy and then they go back home after 3 days, 4 days, whatever. So, and you're doing your job, treating unhealthy people and trying your best to make them healthy. So, and many times you are successful, many times you may not be successful. You're doing your job, but you cannot call, because this hospital is a place of suffering. Who made this hospital? Patients made the hospital. Why did they make? They were unregulated. If they were regulated in their habits, they will not enter into the hospital. Because they were unregulated, say eating habit, they will enter into the hospital. Now, who made the hospital? Government made the hospital. Doctors made the hospital. Is doctors liable for patients entering the hospital? No. Doctors are trying to help the patient. Does that make sense, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mahavasu Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Just one last thing. When we say that we can realize the God in 3 forms, one is the Brahman impersonal form, then second is Paramatma level, and then comes the Bhagwan level, right? Prabhupada actually always taught us the personal form, which is the Bhagwan level, and which is the ultimate. Understand? Now, what about a person who is actually on the Paramatma level? Because now when Paramatma is Krishna and Krishna is Paramatma, so how does he actually get the opportunity to go to the Krishna's abode, or how does it work? Just maybe it's a vague question, but please answer.
It's absolutely valid question. Can we wait till we go to 6th chapter? The response is given in Bhagavad-Gita.
Okay, all right. Thank you, bro.
About Paramatmavadi. We'll talk about this in detail there. So who are they? What are their symptoms? And how do they achieve Paramatma stage? And how they get converted from Paramatma to Bhagwan stage. So this will be answered in 6th chapter and also in 14th chapter. We'll look in there. Is that okay?
All right, Prabhu. Thank you.
The whole context. Huh?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay,
good.
Thank you. All good? Hare Krishna. Anyone else has any curiosity? I can try. Okay, if not, let's move to the 3rd chapter. So before I get inside the chapter, I always like to get a quick summary of the chapter. So 2nd chapter was the contents of the Gita summarized, where we studied different philosophies in Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell. Now the 3rd chapter, you can say, is the 1st chapter of Karma Yoga, not really technically, but practically. So Krishna has spoken about all the philosophy in the 2nd chapter already, but now the expansions are coming. Now, many times we see Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 parts. Baldev Vidyabhushan says, so Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. So Karma Yoga refers to first 6 chapters, Bhakti Yoga second chapter, second middle chapter, second 6 chapters, and the third 6 chapter belong to Jnana Yoga. Now, all the sections we know, at least by Prabhupada's mercy, that they're leading towards Bhakti Yoga, right? But still, the product information is given and then it's been compared with Bhakti Yoga. So similarly, third chapter is primarily, I said primarily, dealing with Karma Yoga. So what is Karma Yoga? Again, in a nutshell, when you involve Krishna, anywhere you involve Krishna in your activity, that becomes a yoga. Whether it's Gyan, Karma, or Ashtang, or Karma. So first thing is Karma Yoga refers to a yoga. Yoga means connection with of soul to super soul. Simple as that. Now Karma Yoga, you're connecting with super soul through what? Karma. When the primarily actions are involved, we are calling it Karma Yoga. When primarily Jnana is involved. Now why I'm saying primarily, no activity is independent, like 100% Jnana, 100% Karma is not possible. When the primarily actions are involved, it's called Karma Yoga. When primarily Bhakti is involved, Bhakti we can say exclusively Bhakti is involved, because Bhakti can take Karma, Jnana, everything. And we specialize Bhakti, we specialize Jnana, we specialize Karma, everything. So when primarily Karma is involved in yoga, it's called Karma Yoga. Now Karma Yoga can be of 2 types. One, it can be Sakam Karma Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga. So yoga, you understand, and Karma Yoga, we understand. Now 2 divisions of Karma Yoga is Sakam and Nishkam. What does Sakam refers to? When I am attached to the fruitive actions and I want to enjoy the results. Although I'm offering to Krishna, but I want to enjoy as well. That is called Sakam Karma Yoga. And Nishkam Karma Yoga, I'm still attached to the fruitive works, but I'm not attached to the results of it. That's called Nishkam Karma Yoga. Okay. So yoga, Karma Yoga, and then 2 types of yoga. So Karma Yoga has 2 things, Sakam and Nishkam. So Prabhupada many times, even in the second chapter, has reference to Nishkam Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, all these terms, and sometimes he's saying a synonym Bhakti Yoga as well. Take it as synonym as Prabhupada has done. We'll read the technicalities later. So many times Prabhupada directly translating Karma Yoga to devotional service. We should take it as Nishkam Karma Yoga, where you're attached to the fruitive actions, but you're not attached to the results, you're offering results to Vishnu. Now, what is the difference between a Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga? You say, I am also working, and when I get money after work, I offer that to Lord Vishnu, right? So are we Karma Yogi or Bhakti Yogi? What's the difference between Karma Yogi and Bhakti Yogi? This is what we are doing, right? We are all working people. Most of us, I guess we are working people. We get some money, we get some remuneration, and we offer some results to Krishna directly and indirectly. Like we all do that. So as per the definition, this is Karma Yogi, but we are supposed to be Bhakti Yogi. So just a technical split I'm trying to do. Again, you can use it as synonym at many times. That's fine. But technical differences. Anyone knows a technical difference between a Bhakti Yogi and Karma Yogi?
I think the Bhakti Yogi is when you work for the pleasure of the Lord. So that's the start, and that's how you end. And then the results are obviously not yours. So you do it for the pleasure of the Lord, basically.
Thank you. So in Karma Yoga, we get the result and then we offer to the Lord, right? We get $100, we offer to the Lord. In Bhakti Yoga, we start the day, today I need $100 for the service of the Lord. Let me go out and work and earn $100. So it's the start of our consciousness was the need of the service of the Lord. You understand? But in Karma Yoga, you got the result and then you offer to Krishna, although you don't want to enjoy. So that's the difference. So Bhakti is where we start thinking from Krishna's perspective, then come to our perspective. In any other yoga, we start from yourself and then go towards Krishna. So it's actually quite different in that sense. And although we are trying to offer the result of our work to Krishna, but eventually the expectation is, now a simple example, you like your kid like bhindi ka sabji. Any kid like bhindi ka sabji? No one likes Karela sabji, bhindi ka sabji. Many times kids like, So now suppose it's just a hypothetical scenario. Krishna doesn't like bhindi ka sabji. Will you make bhindi ka sabji for your kid? Of course. You'll make bhindi ka sabji, you'll offer to your deities and give it to your kid. And that's perfectly valid. It's a fine path. Did you ask Krishna, do you want bhindi today or Karela? Hardly, huh? And we have examples, Prabhupada is speaking to the deities and telling, literally in Vrindavan, Prabhupada telling what Krishna wants today. That's Prabhupada. We can't do that. But I'm talking a mood here. A mood here is you ask Krishna, what dress would you like to wear today? You have 100 dresses for your deities. You open the dress. I bathe my deities every week, and my son always, I made a habit, at least theoretically. You go and ask Krishna, does he want this dress? And many times the dresses come back to me. Krishna doesn't want this one. I tell him, you go and ask Krishna, is this dress okay? And sometimes he returns the dress back to me. Krishna doesn't want this one. I take it like, kids are more innocent than me. I take it. I said, okay, whatever you like. You like pink, yellow, white, whatever. You go and ask Krishna, is it okay for you? Do you like this? And then he comes back. So what I'm trying to say, at least theoretically, we can make a habit, start from Krishna, then come down to the activity, rather than doing the activity, then offering to Krishna. And that is the perfection of Bhakti Yoga. So here we are in Karma Yoga section. So this is also a long chapter. It has 43 verses. You can see on the screen, there are 4 sections. So the first section is renunciation of work or work in devotion. So in Hindi, I will say, if that makes sense. So karma se sannyas or karma mein sannyas. Karma se sannyas means leave the work. Sannyas le liya. Renunciate the work. Work karma se sannyas. Or karma mein sannyas means you're doing the work, but in a renunciate mood. You're not attached to the work or the fruits. Attached to the work, yes, in the sense it should please my Lord, but you're not itself attached to the work or the result of the work. So there's renunciation of work or work in devotion. And this Arjuna will ask 2 questions and Krishna will respond the whole chapter. Now, Krishna says, if you cannot perform Karma Yoga, what you start from Karma Kanda? You start Karma Kanda. Now, what is Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga? Karma Kanda is sense gratification, which is within the boundaries of Vedas. Sense gratification is there, but within the boundaries of Vedas. I worship Lord Shiva or Lord Indra or Ganesha, or for the sake of Lord Vishnu as well, just to fulfill my desire. This yajna is written in Rig Veda, for example. By doing this yajna, I'll go to Swargaloka and enjoy there for next 10,000 years. Is this wrong? No, it's written in Vedas. That's called Karma Kanda. There's no Vishnu there. I want to enjoy, I'm doing certain activities. Karma Kanda. Many kings in the past were doing Karma Kanda. So Krishna is saying to Arjuna, if you're not able to perform Karma Yoga, attach yourself at least to Karma Kanda, because below Karma Kanda, what's the level? Anyone knows? Animalistic life. You see in the current world today, 99% world are doing what? Karma Kanda? Animalistic life. It's not animal life. We're talking human living as animals. Anywhere they fall for sense gratification, isn't it? Anywhere they eat, anywhere they sleep, anywhere they mate, anyhow they defend. Anyhow. So eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, which you are okay, you can do it, no problem. But anywhere, anytime, anyway, that's called animalistic life. And 99% people today in the world is doing animalistic life. Now, previously, if you read Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, people used to do at least Karma Kanda. Like they were doing yajnas, they want to do Swargaloka, and they want to achieve pious credits, and that's all right. So Krishna is saying, if you cannot do Karma Yoga, at least do Karma Kanda and rise to Karma Yoga. Start from Karma Kanda. Don't leave the boundary of Vedas. Read that. Now he explains 17 to 35 about Karma Yoga. What are the prescribed duties and how you should perform your prescribed duties in the mood of detachment. To set an example, there's quite a few verses there. And the final verse, beware of the lust. Why the lust topic has come and anger both? Because this is the biggest obstacle in performing the Karma Yoga. So Krishna not only talks about the positive part, this is the definition, and you do this and this example. No, Krishna understands, because we are conditioned, we have lust, we have anger, and these 2 things, and Krishna will later say 3 things, are the biggest obstacle in our path of success. So Krishna says, I understand. I'm not denying it. You have your teenager boy or girl. Many of the parents will have it. You understand the mindset. You understand their mindset, and you know how to deal with them. You don't deny those emotions. What you do, you know how to deal with them. You tell them the way how they can deal with it. So Krishna said, I understand lust and anger is there. This is the biggest obstacles. I will tell you how you can stay away from that biggest obstacle and achieve the success. Okay. Everyone is okay with a little introduction of the chapter? So let's dive into the chapter. 3.1. Again, many chapters in Bhagavad-Gita starts, so Arjun prompts some question and Krishna responds, basically the whole.
Sorry, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I had a question just when you were mentioning about offering to the Lord and having that, spiritual realization. But we are not at that pure stage, Prabhuji. So how can we know what Krishna wants and what he likes to wear or eat?
Yeah, that's why we need Guru. We need a spiritual master who can guide us. That's why just by reading books, you cannot understand. That's where we need the help of a spiritual master who can extract the customized instruction for a particular conditioned soul, how that soul can serve Krishna and reach back to Godhead within this lifetime. Otherwise, reaching back to Godhead is not a joke. It's not a joke. You can read the books. Everyone can read this Bhagavad-Gita. It's online. It's free. Bhagavatam you can read, and everything you can read, but we cannot go back to Godhead just by reading the books. Just by reading the books. Although Prabhupada has made it so accessible, it's still. So to answer your questions, Mataji, we need Guru. Yeah? And then Guru will tell what Krishna likes to eat, what you should cook, whether you should cook or not, whether you should do work or stay as housewife. Guru will tell those questions. That's why we should not rely too much for at least the major decision of our life on our mind. We should give that responsibility to our Guru. And when we surrender to Guru, honestly, things work out. When things are bogging up our mind so much, literally just go to your Guru. Go to your Guru and say, I cannot understand this. I can't do it. Now, Guru is not going to tell, cut bhindi in 1 inch size or half inch size. Half inch size, maybe Krishna likes better. No, we're not talking about those details here. Some major decisions of life, it should be under the guidance. And by his mercy, then he will know today, Krishna likes half inch bhindi or a full bhindi. Some people make full bhindi ka sabji as well. What do you call bharwa bhindi? Shraddha Mataji is saying, yes. Bharwa bhindi is very beautiful. Now you don't cut bharwa bhindi. You have full bhindi, you put masala in there. Now, how would we know all these details? By Krishna's grace, you will know. Today, my Laddu Gopalji, my Gaur Nitai wants bharwa bhindi, not cut bhindi. You go in Udayas, you get 2 types of bhindi, baby okra and cut okra. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. So to that level, like Guru Maharaj can give us that type of...
Yes. Guru can Divya Gyan Hita Prakashito. That will not come after mere reading of Bhagavad Gita. Guru will give guidance. Every single service you will do, it will be aligned with Krishna desire. Every single service, even you're walking. Sorry to say, you're walking, you're sleeping, everything is for the service of Guru and Krishna. Up to that, Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj said, up to your breathing. If Guru says you breathe, if Guru doesn't say you don't breathe, that's up to the standard Guru can take us. That much surrender. We have the story of Upmanyu in Mahabharata. I'll not go in detail. He surrendered everything to Guru. Krishna came in front of him. So our surrender is stopping us, not the process. Process is very powerful. Very, very, very powerful. You will know. Bhindi ka size. For example, every single detail, you will know what will please Krishna. Prabhupada was in Manor giving Bhagavatam class. He closed his eyes, 7:45, 8 o'clock, like that. And he says, Krishna, there's a deity of Lord Ramchandra there and Radha Krishna as well. I forgot the name of the deities. So he said, Krishna today is very happy. He's dancing. I can see Krishna dancing. Prabhupada could see Krishna dancing while giving Bhagavatam class because devotees had done such a nice shringar. They did Darshan Arti, they did Guru Arti, and Prabhupada giving Bhagavatam class. Says, Krishna is very happy today. He's dancing. Krishna, Prabhupada in Calcutta, one devotee offered a garland to the deities, which is not uncommon. Every temple offers a garland. Prabhupada arrived in the temple just after that Darshanarti time. So Krishna was wearing a lotus garland. And the bumblebee came. Narani Mataji tells this past time when she was the pujari in Calcutta temple. And she tells us, I didn't even have chappal with me. So Narani Mataji, born and brought up in America, serving in Calcutta temple. She's telling, we didn't have very much chappal to go out. We'll go bare feet. Not that we were renunciate. We didn't have chappal. That person, externally speaking, right, is serving Krishna. And Prabhupada said to Mataji, didn't know that Mataji has served the deities. He said, the pujari who has put the garland, Krishna has accepted the garland. Prabhupada said that. Krishna has accepted the garland. Prabhupada said that. So yes, every single detail will be guided by Guru, every single detail. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Let's move forward to the third chapter. We're all excited. All these pastimes are super good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, in continuation that question, in the current situation, we don't have a direct contact with the spiritual masters on day-to-day basis.
Yes.
So how do we understand that, Prabhu?
Okay, we'll study that in 434 in NOD, but I'll give you a short answer, Prabhuji. It's not how much direct emails or phone calls or WhatsApp messages which we get with the Guru. It's a soul-to-soul connection. It's a heart-to-heart connection. Again, I'm saying in general, I cannot say for an individual person here. The level of surrender we have for our Guru, that will determine the presence of Guru in our life. Prabhupada said many instances, and I can remember a few. Prabhupada said, I am never separated with my spiritual master. I am never separated with my spiritual master. My spiritual master is constantly present. And my spiritual master, His Holiness Kadam Kanan Maharaj, keeps hammering on this aspect, keeps hammering. I am always with you. I'm watching over you. My Guru Maharaj says that. I'm watching. I know exactly what you are doing. I'm scared, actually. I'm scared. Again, my surrender isn't there, but the theory is there. Huh? Okay, my surrender. So Prabhupada could feel the presence of his Guru. And how many times Prabhupada met his spiritual master? Anyone? 4 times in total. 2 short meetings and two letter exchanges. That's it. Now, Prabhupada could be the perfect example of a perfect disciple. How come? So it's not about the, that's why Guru Tattva is extremely difficult to understand for a conditioned entity. But for now, we just surrender, at least in theory. We try to follow his instruction or his representative's instruction, and we carry on in our spiritual life. And slowly, when we get purified, your Guru will speak to you. Devar Maharaj, His Holiness Devar Maharaj was telling, the only one meeting he had with Prabhupada, one city in America, can't remember the name. Anyway, Maharaj was telling in Sydney in one of the classes. Prabhupada looked at Devarat Prabhu that time, maybe some other name I can't remember. Devarat Maharaj that time was a brahmachari, or was a devotee, I should rather say. And Prabhupada looked at Devarat Maharaj and said, He just looked at it and said, That's the only interaction His Holiness Devarat Maharaj had with Prabhupada. Now, what do we say? We had actually a lot more interaction with our gurus, lot more than that. So he became a sannyasi. He is leading thousands of people around the world. Just one example, and there's so many. So it doesn't matter how many physical associations and instructions we get. Is it okay?
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. His clock is moving. Kanika Mataji, Hare Krishna. You feel like absorbed in the spiritual world. You're already gone there. Not yet. You know why you're not there? Because you want to take all of us there. Thank you, Mata. Could you read 3.1? See, with the camera, it helps so much. Huh? We can see each other. We can joke. We can understand.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Jayasi chet karmana taste.
Jayasi chet karmanaste.
Mata buddhir janardana.
Mata buddhir janardana.
Kim karmani ghore mam.
Yat kim karmani ghore mam.
Niyojayasi Keshava.
Niyojayasi Keshava.
Arjuna said, O Janardan, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this costly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, thank you. I'm just opening the verses for everyone's benefit. So in 270, if you remember, Apure Marnam Achalam Pratistham, what was Krishna speaking? Sa Shantim Apnoti. He's talking about Shanti, peace, right? 271, what is talking about? Sa Shanti Madhigachati, talking about peace. The whole section, if you see the second chapter, Buddhi Yoga was using your Buddhi, isn't it? And Buddhi does not in any verses explicitly here says about the fighting. Now you remember the last reference of the fighting in Bhagavad-Gita was given by Krishna in 238. He said to Arjuna, get up and fight. In the Kanda section, 238, he says, get up and fight. And then that instruction is never repeated by Krishna. Yeah? And what was said by Krishna from 239 onwards till 272, and we can see explicit verses talking about Shanti. Arjuna is completely confused now. Now, one time you're talking about Yuddha activity, one time you're talking about Shanti. Now, what is Arjuna's preference here? Shanti, isn't it? That's what he wanted, isn't it? So many times when a speaker is speaking something, it says people only relate 20% of the class. And what 20% they will relate with? What they can connect with themselves. 80% they don't relate. So sorry, whatever I have spoken for 2 hours, that's what the stat says. People only get 20%. And whatever you can relate with, you will grab that. So Arjun's, what is his consciousness? What's his question? Should I fight or not fight? That's the bottom line of all this discussion at this stage, right? Should I fight or not fight? Now, Krishna has made the reference in 230 about you should fight. But then after that, for last 30 or verses, he's not made any reference. Rather, he's saying about Shanti. So Arjuna is confused. That's why Arjuna is asking this question. Jayasi. Jayasi refers to the better. You'll read this verse repeated again in 3rd chapter. Jayasi refers to the better. What is better for me? Karmana. Karmana refers to here activity. Activity refers to fighting. For Arjuna, activity means fighting. Prescribed duty is fighting, right? Jayasi chet karma naste mata buddhir janardana. So should I go for karma or buddhi? Buddhi refers to what? Anyone? Buddhi yoga. Buddhi yoga refers to what? Shanti. So Arjuna is translating buddhi yoga as Shanti and translating karma as ashanti. That means fight. We understand the point here? So 2 points Arjuna is confused about. Should I go for karma, which means fight, or Shanti or buddhi yoga? Jayasi, what is better for me? Arjuna is confused. Tat kim, if you think buddhi is better than karma, Shanti is better than karma, fighting, tat kim karmani ghore mam. Ghore refers to the fighting. The fighting is not a very pleasing activity. It's a ghor karma. Ghor karma means inauspicious karma. At least in Arjuna's translation. Mam niyojasi, why are you engaging me in this ghor karma of fighting? So you understand the point? Two things Arjuna is confused in. Should I involve in karma or in buddhi? Buddhi he is translating as Shanti. Karma is translating as fighting. So he's saying, if you think intelligence is better than fruity work, so fruity work is referred as karmana in the Sanskrit word. Intelligence here refers to buddhi in the second line. So if you think, hey Janardhan, you are Janardhan, anyone knows the meaning of Janardhan? We have discussed it. There are 2 meanings. Just give me the popular version of Janardhan. Anyone? Jaldi, jaldi. Jan Ardhan, Jan Ardhan. Jan Ardhan means?
The one who feeds.
Palan. Ardhan means Palan, looking after. So you are the one who is Janardhan. You are going to look after the people. Why are you engaging me in killing the people? That's why the word Janardhan is very important here. So he's saying, I'm confused. I'm confused between karma and buddhi. So if you think buddhi is better, because what Krishna is emphasizing so far in last 30 verses, buddhi yoga, isn't it? Buddhi yoga, buddhi yoga, buddhi yoga. So if buddhi yoga is better than karmana, why are you engaging me in this ghastly warfare? You understand Arjuna's question? All clear? So this is what Arjuna is confused. Now Arjuna will say 3.2, they are related. Let's read that. Who has not read as yet? Deva Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhu, I'll try. Vyamishreneva vakyena.
Vyamishreneva vakyena.
Buddhimohayasiva me.
Buddhimohayasiva me.
Tad ekam vada nishchitya.
Tad ekam vada nishchitya.
Yena shreyo aham apunyam nayam.
Yena shreyo ham apnuyam.
My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So we understand Arjuna's confusion. So he's saying, you have told me about buddhi, you have told me about karma. Tell me one thing. You ask someone, do this or do that. You say, why? Please tell me one thing. You ask Mahasu Prabhu, there are so many sevas. Tell me one thing Prabhu can do. You can do hall setup, you can sing, you can speak, you can do in the kitchen some service. Prabhuji, tell me one thing. What the Nishcheta? Vyami Shrene. So Mishra, in India we have Mishras, Brahmans, Mishra. Mishra means we have Mishri, mixed up. Vyami Shrene, completely mixed up. So he's saying your statements are completely mixed up. Vyami Shrene, Vakya refers to statement. It's pretty close to Hindi. Buddhi mohayasi me. My buddhi is as if deluded now. So here buddhi refers to not buddhi yoga, it refers to Arjuna's intelligence, saying my intelligence is getting deluded now with your two different sided statements. Now Krishna is actually very, very clear. Is Arjuna is not able to understand. Krishna is very clear. Tad ekam vad nishchaitas. Bhaiya ek kaam nischay kar lo. You decide what you want me to do. Tad ekam vad nishchaitya or ekam. Give me eka instruction. Either you tell me buddhi or tell me karma. You understand? Very simple. Tad ekam vad nishchay. You decide. Tell me ekam. Vada is to tell. Ekam is to one. Yena shreyo ham apnuyam. So for by which I will get shreya. Who will get shreya? Aham. Apnuyam. I will achieve. So please, Krishna, your mixed up statements have confused my intelligence. Can you please decide one thing and tell me which will give me Shreya? Is it okay? The question of Arjun. So he is a bit confused. Let's see what Krishna says. We'll read at least 2 verses and then we may stop. 3.3. Who has Sumit Prabhu? Would you like to do?
Krishna, I'll try. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Lokesmin Dvivida Nishta.
Lokesmin Dvivida Nishta.
Puraprokta Mayangada.
Puraprokta Mayangada.
Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam.
Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam.
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are 2 classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Krishna starts responding here. Loke asmin, asmin loke, in this loka, in this world, dvividha nishtha. Nishtha refers to faith. I have nishtha in Krishna, someone may have nishtha in Ganeshi, and blah, blah, blah. So, dvividha nishtha. So, people can have 2 types of faith in this loka. What are the 2 types? Pura prokta maya, anaga. So, maya refers to Krishna, anag refers to anag. One who is sinless. So Arjuna is referred. You are sinless. I have already told you there are 2 classes of men, 2 types of men in this loka. What are the 2 types? Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. Someone has nishtha, someone has faith in Jnana Yoga, and someone has faith in Karma Yoga. There are 2 types of men. Someone goes and approaches the Jnana Marga, someone approaches Karma Marga. Now, interesting part in this verse, you see Karma Yoga word is translated by Prabhupada as devotional service. You can look at the Sanskrit and look at the translation. So why is that? Now, technically, you can say, okay, Karma Yoga should be Karma Yoga and devotional service is Bhakti Yoga. But Prabhupada has translated that because what is the goal of Karma Yoga? Is to do Bhakti Yoga. So many times Prabhupada is giving the goal of that activity in the translation rather than giving the literal translation. So that should not be confused. It's just, as Prabhupada said many times, anyone who even reads 1 page of this Gita will be purified. Why? Because Prabhupada has emphasized this fact again and again. The goal of Bhagavad-Gita is given throughout the Bhagavad-Gita. Okay, so the goal of Karma Yoga is to become a Bhakti Yoga. So Prabhupada is writing, some people take Jnana Marga, which is empirical philosophical speculation marg, which we read, if you remember 2nd chapter, Jnana, compassion, philosophy marg. And some people take the devotional path, which we can say the Buddhi Yoga path. So some people go for Jnana marg and some people go for Buddhi marg. Is that okay? So Karma Yoga versus devotion, using your Buddhi for the pleasure of the Lord. So there are 2 types of men. Now, you'll see Krishna obviously does not complete the answer in 1 verse. So we'll read the verses and we'll come back to the Arjun's question. We'll get it back better. Okay, Mohit Prabhu has a question, or Priya Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, I just wanted to, if you can elaborate on what does it mean by empirical philosophical speculation? Is that related to someone just making their own opinions?
Yes. So that's why, Mataji, if you remember in a Jnana section, Krishna had given this Atma Tattva Gyan, basically the Gyan, which is you're not the body, you are the soul. Many people choose that path, and that makes, they make that as a goal. Now, for a devotee, knowledge of soul and body is the beginning knowledge. It's not the goal. For the Jnanis, that's the goal. They want to realize they are not the body, they are the soul, and that's the goal. Once they realize, they are called, I am Brahma-Lead. I'm situated in Brahma. So for them, for the
Being
Jnanis,
like Mayavadis, Prabhu?
yes, I will
The
say
Mayavadis.
Brahmavadis. I'll differentiate between Brahmavadi and Mayavadis later when we arrive to 9th chapter. So technically, we should say Brahmavadis. Mayavad is a distorted version. We'll clarify. In general, you can say Mayavad. Okay. Technically, it starts from Brahmavad. So Brahman refers to the Atma. So yes, so people who make the goal of realizing the soul as the all-in-all purpose of their life, they are called Jnanis. But Bhakta, it starts from there. Is that okay?
Yes.
Ujjwala Mataji or Akhand
Just a quick question. I could be wrong in this, but I've heard that Buddhi Yoga is also interchangeably used as Bhakti Yoga, because when Buddhi is used in the service of the Lord, that is termed as Bhakti Yoga. Is that correct?
Yes, Mataji, I've already said that Buddhi Yoga is used as synonym. Yep. And that's why I'm saying many times the technicalities can be different than what you see in the translation or purport. But Prabhupada is, instead of being very technical, which he has technical in many places, but some places he is giving the goal in the translation and purport rather than giving the technical meaning of it. And that's why I said one example is that particular verse, 3.1, where he translates Karma Yoga as devotional service. So Buddhi Yoga, Karma Yoga, and you see throughout, if you read 3rd chapter purports of Prabhupada, many times he's using karma as devotional service. So yes, they are used interchangeably, at least in Prabhupada Bhagavad-Gita. But if you go to a smart Brahman, they may have problems with that. And there are so many explanations. For this class, probably not required. Okay, let's move forward to 3.4. Was it 3.4 or 3.3? No, 3.4. That's correct. Who has not read as yet? Nidhi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Na karma na manarambha nishkarmaya.
So we just read the first.
Purusho mushrute.
Naishkarmam purushosmute.
Nacha sannyasana deva.
Nacha sannyasana deva.
Siddhim samadhi gacchati.
Siddhim samadhi gacchati.
Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
Yeah, so it's very nice. So what Arjuna is trying to do, run away from karma, isn't it? That's what he's trying to do. And he is thinking in his mind, me going out of the battlefield, that means not performing the activity, I'll be free from reaction. So Krishna is saying, na karmanam anarambhan. So arambha word, everyone knows arambha, shubharambha in Hindi they say. Arambha means beginning. Anarambhan means not beginning, means do not start. So if you do not start, that means basically you don't do the work, isn't it? You ask someone, can you make a prashadam? So this person doesn't even go in the kitchen. So we'll ask, bhai kab ja rahe hain aap? When are you going? What are your plans of cooking? So na karmanam anarambha. So if you think by not starting the work means not doing the work, I will not get reaction. That's not the case. So na karmanam anarambha. Naishya karmam. Naishya karmam refers to the activity which does not produce reaction. So karma will produce a reaction. We'll talk about different categories of karma in 4th chapter. So Naishya karma refers to the activity which does not produce reaction. What is that activity? Akarma. We'll read about it later. But here Krishna is saying Naishya karma, just by not doing the activity does not mean you will not get the reaction. Pushoshite. Nacha sannyasanadev, not by taking sannyas only, merely taking sannyas, siddhim samadhi gacchati, you will not achieve siddhi. Siddhi here refers to the perfection or liberation, you can say, right? So if you think by not doing activity or taking sannyas, you will achieve siddhi, that's not the case. We'll read Prabhupada's translation. Not by merely abstaining from work, which is na karmanam anarambhan, work can achieve freedom from reaction. So you don't want reaction, right? But that is not the case, because even if you sleep, are you working? You're working. Why? You're breathing in, breathing out. You're taking different viruses. Sometimes people sleep well, and when they get up, gala kharab hai. So while sleeping also work, sleep is activity. Some people sleep 14 hours in a row. Believe me or not, some people do. And then Prabhupada said, next life they will become a bear in Antarctica, sleep 6 months. So just by abstaining from work, that means you're not studying, you're not doing any household work, you're still active, you're eating, you're sleeping, you're doing other things, you're looking at the things, you're making your mind for something. So it does not free you from the reaction. Nor nacha sannyasanadev, not by taking renunciation alone. Now renunciation is not wrong. Renunciation in Krishna's service is one of the best things which devotees like. But renunciation alone, in Mayavad I've heard, I forgot the Sanskrit word it says, just by getting the danda, naro narayanam bhaved. There's a Sanskrit verse for that. Just by getting the danda. So if you just take sannyas, you become Narayan. That's what Mayavadi says. So that's not the case. You can take danda and you can take, teen danda and char danda. You can take big orange clothes. You can have a big beard. Does it mean your mind is settled? Just by externals, I'm saying. Not necessarily. In India, that's why people have lost faith in the Babas, sadhus. Many, not everyone, many are cheaters. They grab the garb of a sadhu, but they're doing all the illicit activities in private. So just by taking sannyas does not mean you will achieve siddhi. Or just by not doing work, don't think you'll not get reaction. So Krishna is basically what he is referring to. You have to do work in a proper consciousness to achieve the siddhi. Not that, okay, I will not cook, so I'll not get reaction. No, you're walking on the floor, you're killing insects. You are still getting the reaction. It says in Bhagavatam, Radha Govind Maharaj says, from some Purana, there are 5 reactions we are all getting every day, even if you are a sannyasi. Because we cannot quit these 5 activities. Again, it's a Vedic example. Take it in that way. So when you do jhadu in the house, nowadays we have robot. that round circle, people just switch on. It goes under your sofa and does a job up to an extent. Anyway, we used to do jhadu and pocha. Everyone knows that. I still do. I love it. So you're killing ants and you're killing insects, right? When you fetch water from the well, you actually do hinsa, you do violence. When you cook, there are some viruses and insects there. Mataji is making khichdi or dal. You cook. How many viruses you kill? Unlimited, actually. So there are 5 activities which each grahastha is doing on a daily basis without the intention of doing violence, but still doing violence. That's why in Vedas it's described there are 5 yagyas which we have to do every day. All the grahasthas are supposed to do Panch Agni. You've heard Panch Agni? You have to satisfy these 5 Agnis. You have to do Panch Yagya every day. Because you can counteract by these yagyas the sins which you accumulate by doing these things. Not a sannyasi though. So basically, even if you don't do anything, you're still doing 5 sins, 5 violences every day. So don't think you'll not get reaction, and don't think just by taking a danda, by becoming a sannyasi, you get siddhi, you become Narayan, you go across Virja river. That's what Mayavadi says. That's not the case. Now, what the actual case is, come back next week, same time, same place, 7 o'clock, and we'll respond to you. In the meanwhile, you can read on your own. Okay, I'll stop here. If anyone has any quick questions or comments, 30 seconds, we can take that.
So what are the 5 yagyas? Can you just name them?
I don't know, Prabhuji. Yes, we can find out. Panch yagya is called Panch yagya, Panch Agni. We are supposed to satisfy those Panch Agnis. Now, in general, even Prabhupada doesn't write it, but I can say what Prabhupada writes about it, the solution. He does not write what are these 5 yagya. He says for Kali Yuga, we do Sankirtan yagya. Prabhupada writes that. You can read another quote. So we don't need to know the Panch yagyas. Just chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds a day at least. With sincerity, with quality, as much as possible, and you are out of the the realm of the sinful reaction which you incur by doing unintentionally those 5 sins every day. Every one of us. Prabhupada writes that we are supposed to do yajna, those yajnas which are allowed for Kali Yuga, which is Sankirtan Yajna. Yajna Sankirtana prior, yajantihi sumedasaha. So the most intelligent people will do Sankirtan Yajna in Kali Yuga, and that will satisfy all the demigods. We'll read about that connection between demigods and humans later. Okay.
Prabhu,
Sorry, Prabhu. Oh.
Okay, Priya Mataji and Jaiprakash Prabhu, both of you, can I please take your questions next week, because it's 9:16.
Sure.
Other services as well. Some has young kids as well. So we'll stop here. Please write it. Absolutely fine. We'll